Welcome to the video on ordering integers. The SOL objective is 6.3 that you will be able to order and compare integers. We've already done the comparing, so now we're going to order them. And at the end of the video, you'll be able to compare integers using inequality symbols and order. We're going to focus on ordering now. Order integers with and without inequality symbols. So let's go ahead and take a look at your notes. So, whenever numbers are written in descending order, I want you to take a look at these letters. What do you notice about them? Look how big the D is and how small the G is. That means we are going biggest to smallest. Alright, now take a look. Notice that 8 is greater than 3, 3 is greater than negative 3, and negative 3 is greater than 5. That's written with the inequality symbols. Here it's written with just commas going greatest to smallest or biggest to smallest. Alright, now take a look at ascending. What do you notice about ascending? The letters start out really small and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. So ascending is smallest to largest. And if you take a look at these numbers, we have negative 5 is less than negative 3, negative 3 is less than 3, and 3 is less than 8. So the numbers are going smallest to largest using an inequality symbol. Here they're going smallest to largest using a comma. So what I want you to do is in your notes, I want you to order these. I want to see if you can order these numbers on your number lines that are in your notes. And I'm going to go ahead and order the number lines here. You can feel free to pause the video if you need to. And I'm going to start with the smallest. The smallest is negative 20. And then we have negative 10, negative 3, and then we have a positive 5, and then we have positive 10. Pause the video if you need to jot these down. Next, we're going to order these numbers on the number line. You can go smallest to largest or largest to smallest. I'm going to start with negative 27. So negative 27 would fall between negative 10 and negative 30. It would be closer to negative 30. Then we've got negative 12, which would be closer to negative 10. Then we have negative 3, which would be closer to 0 than negative 10. Then we have a positive 3. We have a positive 17. And then we have a positive 46. If you need to, pause the video here so that you can jot these down. Notice as we move to the right, our numbers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and as we go to the left, they're getting smaller. Alright, now what we're going to do is we are going to order these numbers here from largest to smallest. So the largest would be 40, and you can definitely jot these down underneath or next to your notes. Next would be positive 3, then we have positive 1. Next, for negative numbers, the one that's closest to 0 would be negative 1, then negative 5, negative 11, and negative 20. You can pause the video here if you need to. Alright. Next, we're going to order these from greatest to least. Notice we have one in the thousands, so that one's definitely our greatest. Okay. So we have 5,945. The next one would be 84. And then we would have 3, that is positive 3. Then 0. Then negative 1. Negative 3. Negative 88. And negative 342. Alright, next next we're going to compare these integers on a number line. Now we don't have any specific lines, it's just a matter of getting them in the right order and always knowing that the smallest is always on the left, so the smallest should be over here, and the biggest or the largest should be over here on the right. So the smallest goes on the left, the largest goes on the right. So let's take a look. Which one would be the smallest? So we've got quite a few negative numbers here. Well, negative 101 is the smallest. It's the furthest from 0. Next would be negative 87. Next would be negative 63. And then negative 52. Then negative 28. Then we have 1 and 17. And please feel free to pause the video if you'd like to jot these down in your notes. Alright, now we're going to put these in order from greatest to smallest. Okay, so from the biggest to the smallest. So we've got some negative numbers and some positive numbers mixed in. So since we're going biggest to smallest, I'm going to first identify my positive numbers. So there and there. So my biggest would be positive 6. And then next would be 1. So I'm done with those. So I'm going to go ahead and cross them off. Next would come 0, because I know 0 is between my positive and negative numbers. Then negative 2. So if I'm counting backwards, I have 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So just like if you're counting positive, the numbers get smaller and smaller. And then I have negative 4. Alright. Now we're going to order these biggest to smallest. So the biggest would be negative 1. It's the one closest to 0. Then negative 2, negative 4, and negative 13. And then we've got a positive 6 and a positive 3 and then a 0. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. And then I have a negative 3, and then a negative 6. Alright, and then down here at the bottom, I am going biggest to smallest again, so I'm going to start with 0, then negative 1, then negative 22, and then negative 36. And then we can move the boxes to make sure that we did it correctly. Okay. Alright, now what I want you to do is pause the video here, first check over your work, and see if you have any questions. And if you do, jot those down in your notes so we can talk about them next class. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to see if we can just come up with a number that would fill in these boxes, or an integer that could go fit in each of these boxes. So we have negative 101. Now we know if we're moving left on the number line that the numbers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So negative 102 would be smaller than negative 101. Same thing on the next one. We're getting smaller and smaller and smaller as we move left. So we could say negative 85, or any number that's past negative 75. The next one, we have negative 1001. Now we know our numbers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, so we could say any number that we want. I'm going to say 2. So 2 is bigger, I'm sorry, I meant to say negative 2. Negative 2 is bigger than negative 1001. Now notice on the next one we have 0. So we can choose any negative number we want because all the numbers to the left on the number line are negative. So I'm going to go with negative 4. Alright, so that is it. That is all I have for you today for ordering integers. If you do have any questions, please jot those down and we can definitely go over those tomorrow or during the next class.